Okay. So I don't know if you saw this, but Linux Foundation, again, like 10 minutes ago, breaking news. Linux
Oh,
Foundation.
whoa.
Yeah, breaking news. They have a measuring the economic value of open source survey.
That's
Okay?
incredible. Oh, it's a survey.
It's a survey. Well, but it's the results. The results of the survey. But I will echo your sentiment that it is a little bit like survey. Ugh, right? Let's be honest, sometimes the surveys are a little like meh.
Yeah. God.
I have not done any analysis of this. Okay.
Yeah, we shouldn't shit on it before we.
No, we're gonna shit on it, but we're just gonna shit on it live. Okay, we're gonna go through this live, and we're gonna see what this looks like. So, again, I have not seen this. Okay, I took their infographic and I posted it here so we could read it together and we could get the actual feedback immediately based on what we're seeing. So, respondents rate these benefits of open source the highest: cost savings, faster development speed, and open standards and interoperability. I mean, if you're going to survey people, I think that people are going to say, cost savings, yeah. Faster development speed, okay, I could get that. Open standards, I mean, I could get all those. I mean, there's nothing here that's shocking. This is kind of like Captain Obvious time, I think. And almost 2/3 of the respondents report that the benefits of open source exceed the costs. Captain Obvious, right? I think... I don't see how that would be controversial or groundbreaking, but what about you? No?
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree.
More respondents believe it costs significantly less money to use OSS. I disagree with that. I don't think it's significant anymore. I think it can be less, but I think that you're not necessarily looking at the full cost picture there, right? I think.
So are we talking about the last one here?
The purple.
Oh, sorry, the ratio. Oh, the ratio of benefits.
Middle left.
Okay.
Which is the puce color, I guess you'd call it. Most respondents believe it costs significantly less money to use open source.
I feel like that's one of those things where everyone who responded to that has no idea if that's actually true.
Super hit.
It's hard to measure that.
This could show up on my biggest lies in open source.
I think in a lot of cases that's probably true.
Yeah.
And in a lot of cases it's completely wrong. And
yeah, I think it is a perception that a lot of people have, but it isn't necessarily
totally
true. So the ratio of benefits to cost appears to be rising. Okay. I mean, hey, we're benefiting from this free software, this open source software. I get it. So, again.
Yeah. And, the more bought in you get to open, just open source as a methodology for how you run software internally, the benefits compound, I think, as well. And so if the general trend is that more companies are using open source over time, then it makes sense that the benefits, the perceived cost of benefit, will also increase.
Yeah. Well, so I like the bottom right because it's kind of weird and it's catchy. It's like, oh, look, 31% of respondents reported that paying for equivalent software functionality would be 4 times the cost. I mean, everybody
would be.
Yes.
Not was.
Yeah,
would be.
Yeah. So I think that's
okay.
It's like comparing apples to oranges in some cases.
A little bit.
That's why I'm a fan of surveys. Surveys are great because they make great cannon fodder to complain about.
Yeah.
Right?
They do. Yeah.
But this is one of those ones that I'm like, yeah, it's so subjective, right? Of all the open source software that you use in your organization, if you replaced it with a proprietary solution, how much more would you pay? And then people are going to think licensing. They're going to think support costs. They're not going to think about operational costs or other things.
Right.
So, there's some nuance there.
Yeah.
Some of the deeper things, based on your experience, rate the degree of benefits derived from using open source software. This is interesting because, you've got some ones here that, obviously jump out, and the very high benefits are to the right side of these, right? And so you can see that the big one obviously is cost savings, right? Woohoo, cost savings. That's awesome. And so a lot of, especially companies who are used to paying for licensing, they use that cost savings as a justification. But strong support from OSS providers is not really all that good. Like the low benefits, no benefits, or that medium, that's pretty high there, because open source software, unless you're paying for it, you don't really get the support benefits, because, you know, like community driven support, it's hit or miss, right? It depends on the community.
But sometimes it hits, though, to be clear, right? Like, you know, it's
Sometimes it
really
does.
nice. Yeah.
But it
you can
really
just
depends.
sometimes pop into a Discord and ask a question and you get an answer. Great.
Yeah, but a lot of times if you have like that critical bug or you're doing something really wonky,
Oh, yeah.
like it's a time suck. So, you know, that is one of those interesting things. And the other one is, I see that they've claimed that faster development speed is on the very high benefits, but there's also quite a few people who like have put it in that kind of medium category as well. So there's quite a bit on that, you know, medium side, 25%. Active community for knowledge exchange. You know, I'm looking at those bottom three. So it's interesting. And then if we look at the next question, they have, based on your experience, rate the primary costs associated with use. So where are you spending the most money? Lost revenue. So you're losing revenue.
Wait, rate the primary cost associated with the use of or contribution to.
So what's it cost you to use or to contribute to open source?
But these are two separate things.
They're mixing them.
These are two, like, how do I know? Okay, so which one of these things would be kind of different depending on, I guess maybe not necessarily, like,
Well, cost to reduce
reduce
legal uncertainties.
uncertainties.
If you're contributing versus using, those are two very different liabilities.
Yeah, like which
Right.
is it?
And I think
That's a
lost
little confusing
revenues,
to me.
contribution versus using, that's two very different things, right? I would think that, you know, losing revenue from using open source, like if you're not an open source company that's shipping open source, I think that would be like, I would see that would be a non-issue, right? Like I wouldn't even think about that. Like, oh yeah, I could use Oracle database, but I use MySQL, and because MySQL does X, Y, and Z, it's going to cost me revenue. I don't think I would jump to that conclusion. If I was selling a database and it happened to be open source, I might say like, yeah, by contributing to that, I'm costing myself revenue.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think some of these are I'm intrigued. Like cost for training is an interesting one, because I guess, you know, the resources for an open source thing are always just more available and should in theory be easier to do, but you still have to do the training to switch anytime. But now you don't have to train people on that old proprietary thing when you switch. So like
Yeah. Anyways. So I don't know. Like this requires more deeper dive. You know, like let's get into it.
I feel like
later.
we could talk about each of these lines for,
but
a good
it's
10,
out
20
there.
minutes.
It just came out today. You know, as we record this. So, all right. Now, Avi. Okay.